I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site. Now, 2019 was not a good year for the cannabis industry, at least not in the stock market. Most cannabis companies did see double-digit losses in their stock prices. So what does 2020 hold for this sector? With me is the CEO of 1933 Industries, Chris Rebentisch, to shed some light on this. So welcome, Chris.
Jane, thanks for having me on.
Great to have you. So just start with how do you see the current state of the cannabis industry?
Well, it appears we're going through some growing pains, doesn't it?
Any new, like burgeoning, exciting, semi-revolutionary industry is going to do that. So I guess this isn't that much of a surprise.
Yeah, when you look at growth in general, growth happens through failure. And failure is nothing more than a manifestation of learning and exploration, right? And so we are in an industry right now that is learning and exploring. And it's something that everyone needs to remember and consider when that. And the thing is we've been able to identify the majority of failures down to one primary problem.
Okay.
And that is companies' offerings, what they offer, are not aligned with what the demands of the consumers are. And that sounds rudimentary, but that's where we've missed it. And it's really interesting too, because the marijuana industry has been around for thousands of years. People have been growing and trading and selling this plant for a desired effect for a very long time. And that desired effect actually hasn't changed. What the consumer wants is they want to find relief. They want to find hope and joy and euphoria. And that's the same kind of consumer demand that's been around for thousands of years that exists today. So while the marijuana industry isn't a new industry, the commercial legalization of it is. And with that comes additional demands from the consumers. And one of the biggest ones that we're seeing is safety, right? We saw a vape crisis where consumers want to know what's in the product, how it's produced, any microbials or bacteria or harmful substances that are in the product after it's being refined. The devices that are being used, are those safe? Do those cause harm? They also want safety of the actual potency of the product, right? So if I take this, am I going to get too high and too uncomfortable? And what is dosing and what does that mean? They want consistent, right? They want to be able to use it from day to day and have the same desired effects. And it's very difficult when you don't have interstate commerce to be able to pull that off, because you have to set up operations identical and run processes identical with different teams around the country. And then additionally, they want it affordable, right? And unfortunately, because of the taxations that has been levied against this industry, it becomes very difficult.
Well, I mean, all of that makes total sense. And the government does need to establish some kind of regulation on this. So do you see it coming anytime soon?
We have an election year, so we hope for the best, right? But we do need that regulatory framework in order to truly operate and grow this space.
1933 Industries is really laying the groundwork now for when we do. I think many people think inevitably we'll have a federal legalization of cannabis. So what are you doing now to prepare for that? And how can people know when to invest in a company? What should they look for?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I get a lot of people who are looking to invest, and I'm able to talk to them. And most of them sit down and they pull out their piece of paper and they say, oh, how big is your facility? How many pounds can you produce? And what's the price on the street for pound? And they add that up and they say, well, that's your revenue. Perfect. And that's wrong. That's not how you invest in this space. One, you have to realize what the future of this industry is. And this future lies around that consumer. For all investors, the future of this industry is in brands. That's what's going to carry this industry forward, and that's what people need to invest in. The consumer wants to try new things. They want to try different products of different caliber, of different quality to find out what works best for them. And when you're looking at a brand and you say, well, this is a premium high-end brand using exotics, it costs a lot to make, so therefore the price point is high, there's a consumer for that. Well, there's also a consumer that is on a budget and is shopping really for bargains And you can't have this high premium brand in your bargain bin.
It reminds me a little bit of apparel industry. Like you've got Gap that owns Banana Republic and Old Navy, and
It's
so
the same thing.
kind of a similar philosophy.
Yep.
What is MSO?
Multi-state operators.
Okay.
So that was a terminology that we've coined. And like I said, there's no interstate commerce. So if you want to operate in different markets, you need to operate state by state. And it's really interesting how some have approached that. And they've approached it by building massive infrastructure in each state. And it's unfortunate that those who have done that are the ones that are hurting the most. And those who are going in with the lean approach of focusing on the brand and partnering with people who have that supply chain and own that supply chain. And either we own a part of it or we manage a part of it and utilize for that brand. That's the success. And that's really the model, that lean model that 1933 has approached.
It's exciting to watch a brand new industry grow and adapt and kind of navigate everything that's changing. So best of luck to you, Chris. Come back and keep us up to date on what you're doing this year, because things are moving quickly.
You got it. Thanks for having me on.